Today we're going to be learning about parallel lines and what's called transversals. In the picture below, X and Y are what type of lines? Parallel. Line T is called a transversal. Or a line that intersects it. We're not going to use a protractor to measure like it says, but we're going to use patty paper to determine the matching angles. I forgot that. Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm going to pause the video right here. We're going to do a little patty paper discovery to find our matching angles. So this will not be your. All right. On my patty paper, you can see this green box I have here. Angle A is red. What I can do with this paper is I can rotate this box. Well, hold up. Okay, I'm able to rotate my paper. And angle A is also a perfect match. That red angle is a perfect match to B. What other angle is a perfect match to A and B? Okay, is C the red one? No, so what else is going to be that red angle? E and H. Let's try. So if I drag this down to E or to H, it's not going to let me. Come on. Well, I can move my paper. That's sunshine. There it goes. If I move it to H, it's a perfect match. And if I turn it around, E is also going to be a perfect match. What I want you to do is I want you to take one of the colors, it doesn't matter which, and I want you to highlight all those angles you just said. Those angles, are they bigger than 90 or less than 90? They're bigger than 90. What's bigger than 90 cost? Obtuse. Good. So I'm going to take my highlighter. I'm going to take a blue one. So all my obtuse angles are angle A, angle D, angle E, and angle H. I'm going to highlight them the same because they're actually all the same angle. Now I could do the same thing with what I have as my blue angle on my patty paper. You can make another angle wherever you want. It matches angle B. What else do you think it's going to match up with? C. If I turn it around, it's going to be a perfect match to C. What else is it going to match with? C and F. It's a little tricky to use this, but it will also match here. Yeah. So it matches G. It's also going to match F. I'm going to put that to the side. So let's pick a different color. Just any color that's different than what you use for that. And these angles, are they more or less than 90? Less. And what's less than 90 called? Acute. Perfect. So I'm going to pick a yellow and highlight all of those the same. So all my blues are the exact same angle, and all my yellows, they're the same angles. So what we notice, we could say angle A matches angle D, angle E, and angle H are the same. They're all obtuse. And then angles B, C, F, and G are all the same. And they are acute. So even though it looks like we do have 8 different letters. But there's really only 2 different angles. It's either blue or yellow. It's either obtuse or acute. There are different relationships here. We have different types of angles. In the warm-up, one angle pair was shown as being congruent, and that's corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are angles in the same relative position. They're angles in matching corners. Talked about that briefly on the warm-up. So for the example, I think it's best to show you a picture. If I'm going to just draw my parallel lines in a transversal. The matching corners, I have 2 intersections. I have 2 places where it crosses. The top left matches the top left of each intersection. I put a red dot in the top left of each. If you want to write this on your paper, you could use a little highlighter to represent the top. There's 4 different corresponding angles. I could have also had this top right matches this top right. You can either do a dot, which I normally do in a different color, or if you're using a pencil, you can make a different type of mark to show it's a match. And then the bottom left matches the bottom left. And then the bottom right would match the bottom right. Those are called corresponding angles. They're corresponding because they're in the same location. Just like when we talked about corresponding angles and shapes, they're in matching spots. So the relationship with this is they're congruent. So for example, let's talk about angle A. Angle A, that blue one, what letter is it corresponding with? Angle A corresponds with what other letter up here? E. A and E are both in that top left. So I'm going to write angle A, and remember this congruent symbol? Angle A is congruent to angle E. The relationship is they're congruent, meaning they are equal. So that's one relationship. All right, what's corresponding to B? F. Good. What's corresponding to H? D. What's corresponding to G? C. Perfect. All right, now we're going to talk about vertical angles. And vertical angles, actually, we learned this one. We had this last year. Vertical angles are pairs of opposite angles formed by intersecting lines. So if I have my transversal here, I'm going to put a dot in that top left corner. Vertical to it is the one that's on the opposite side of the intersection. So those 2 angles are vertical. This top right angle is vertical to the one right across that intersection. Those are vertical angles. So there's also 4 pairs of vertical angles. This angle is vertical to that angle. And then this angle is vertical to that opposite angle right here. So going back to that example, that big example right here, angle A, what is angle A vertical from? D. Angle A and angle D, are they the same color or different colors? Same colors, they're going to also be the same, exact same measurement. So they are congruent. Angle A and angle D are vertical. All right, someone else mention another vertical pair. What else? What's another vertical pair? Someone from the red table. What's another vertical pair? B and C, perfect. B and C. What's E vertical to, everyone? H, perfect. What's F vertical to? G. Love it. So those are verbs. Now, a linear pair is the next vocabulary. It's a lot of vocabulary today. I added all the words for that vocabulary. Linear pair, adjacent, angles. Adjacent, remember, means next to. It's adjacent angles formed by intersecting lines that add up to. So this is actually a linear pair. When together, they make a straight line. And what does a straight line add up to? 180. Good. 180 degrees. So a linear pair, if I have my transversal, a linear pair would just be two that are like next to each other, like right next to each other together that make a 180. They could be across horizontally, they could be along the transversal like this. The two angles that together make a 180. So if I continue with angle A is right next to which ones? Which ones is angle A adjacent? B or C? So either B or C. But is A equal to B or C? No, they're different. So angle A, and I'm going to pick angle B. Angle A and angle B, they're not the same, but together they add up to be 180. And when they add up to be 180, there's a word for that we haven't stressed. That starts with an S. S-U. They add up to 180. Maybe? I think I heard it. Supplementary. They add up to 180, it's called supplementary. And I know these pictures are a little small. I'm going to get a bigger visual so you can see that better. Alright, next we have alternate interior angles. Alternate means opposite. And we already know that interior means what? Inside. So alternate interior means opposite on the inside. It's angles inside the parallel lines and on the opposite sides of the transversal. For this, what's really going to help is if we look at this transversal, these parallel lines are transversal, and what I want y'all to do whenever you see this is to connect the parallel lines so that it makes a box. Sometimes the box might look more like a parallelogram, but it's going to be a box. Inside the box is interior. So both of these sides are interior. And if they're not inside that box, they're considered exterior. Exterior. And just to save time, I'm just going to call this X. Another good strategy is to make the transversal very bold or like in a different color from the angles, just to see that's the transversal, the one that cuts through. So alternate we're on alternate interior means opposite on the inside. So if I have my transversal, my parallel lines with the transversal, the opposite on the inside would be this angle right here is opposite from this angle right there. They're on opposite alternate, and they're both on the inside. There's two different pairs of alternate interior. There's that one right there, and then we can have another one. This one is alternate interior from that angle. They're on opposite sides, alternate of the transversal, and they're inside those parallel lines, alternate interior. So A is not going to be part of that alternate interior, but I know C is. What is C alternate interior from? C is alternate interior from F. And are C and F the same color or different colors? The same. So angle C is congruent to angle F. They are congruent. So C and F are alternate interior. The lines on the inside. What's the other pair of alternate interior here? There's one other pair. What is it? D and E. Alright, so the next one is alternate exterior angles. So it's the same thing, opposite, but instead of inside, it's what? Instead of inside, it's outside. Opposite on the outside. So they're angles outside the parallel lines and opposite the transversal. So if I make a tiny little parallel line transversal here, they're going to be on the outside now. So this angle will match that bottom angle there. They're opposite of that transversal and they're on the outside of the parallel line. And then this angle will match that angle. I know I'm doing a bunch of scrolling back and forth. Angle A is on the exterior. What is it alternate exterior to? H. Good. Angle A and angle H. And are angle A and H same or different colors? Same. So they're same, they're both. Angle A is congruent to angle H. They are congruent. They're both obtuse. Alright, we have two more vocabulary words. I know so much vocabulary today, but if you understand each little piece and what it means, it's going to be a lot easier to understand what it is. Same side interior. We know interior means inside. Same side, they're going to be on the same side of the transversal. So it's angles inside the parallel lines and on the same side of the transversal. So what that'll look like is if we have an angle here, it's on the inside, but it's the same side of the transversal, so it's going to have a relationship with this angle right here, but they're going to be different colors. So what I did was I made one mark and the other two marks to represent their different sizes. They're not going to be the same angle. They're not going to be. On the other side, I have this angle. I'm going to put a double line here, because technically that'll match that alternate interior angle, and then a single angle right here because it matches this alternate interior angle. But the red, my pinks come together to make the same side interior. The greens together are same side interior. So let's look at C. What is C same side interior to? E. Are they the same color or different color? Different color. So are they going to be the same size or supplementary? Supplementary. They're not congruent. They're going to be supplementary. So angle C. Angle C and angle D, they're not equal to each other, but together they're going to add up to equal what? 180. They are supplementary. Alright, the last one is same side exterior. So that's angles outside the parallel lines and on the same side. So here if I have my parallel lines, have my transversal, and you'll see later the parallel lines can be cut by a transversal a different way. Parallel lines can be over here, they can be there. They could be rotated, and we'll see using all my color. But I'm just keeping on the same thing. So outside of parallel lines, that's where A is. And it's the same side as this one at the bottom here. But they're going to be different sizes. So I can make one like a one looper. I already did that one. Okay. I'm going to make this one loop, and this two, to show that they're different sizes. And then this will be two, because it's going to match. Or alternate. It's alternate exterior. And this is going to be. But the blues together are same side exterior, and the blacks together are same side exterior. Angle A is same side exterior to what? Angle G. Are they going to be the same? No. So if they're not the same, they're either congruent or supplementary. Which one? Supplementary, which means it's going to add to 1. What's the other pair of same side exterior? We have A and G. What's the other pair? B and H. We're going to have a lot of practice with this. I'm going to back real quick. This part's going to go on. All right, use what you know about parallel lines and transversals so they will each been the same angle measure. All right, every time you see a transversal, I want you to get on top of the highlighters. It's really going to help. So I'm going to highlight all my obtuse angles one color. I did this before, so I'm going to continue with it. This is obtuse, 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 obtuse. It almost makes like a little zigzag. Those are the angles that match up together. And then my yellow, I'm going to match the cube. That's a 75. So if my yellow is 75, every time there's a yellow, it's going to be 75 degrees. How can I figure out what the blue is? 180 minus 75. Perfect. Because together the blue and yellow make 180. So if I take 180 and I subtract 75, it's going to be 100. So all my blues are going to be 105 degrees. So notice that when parallel lines are crossed by a transversal, any pair that angles formed will either be, so any two angles are either going to be the same, which is called congruent, or they're going to be different, but they're going to be supplementary. So either they equal each other, or together they add up to equal 180. All right, questions 1 and 2. Same thing. Get out your highlighters before we answer any of the questions. Oh, highlight those questions. I'm going to just stick with my obtuse being blue, since that's what I've been doing. 1 is blue. What else is going to be blue? 4. What else? 5 and 8. And all the others are going to be Right here it says line R and S. Line R is parallel to line S. The M angle 2, that stands for the measure of angle 2 is 55 degrees. So that means every single yellow is 55 degrees. So find the measure of angle 3. What's angle 3 going to be? 55 degrees. And how we know that, yes, it's the same color yellow, but what's the relationship between angle 2 and angle 3? What's their relationship? It's one of the vocabulary words on the front. They are congruent, but are they corresponding, vertical? What are they? They are vertical. That's an example of vertical angles. And vertical angles are congruent. Alright. Now let's find the measure of angle 7. What's angle 7 going to be? Also 55, because it's also yellow. Let's compare our original angle 2. It's congruent to angle 7, they're both yellow. Well, what's their relationship called? What do you think that relationship is called? Alternate exterior. And we can abbreviate alt. A strategy to help us with that is to connect those parallel lines and make the transversal bolder or in a different color. And we can see that both of those angles are on the outside of my parallel lines. That's the exterior part. And they're on opposite sides of that transversal. That's the alternate part. So they're alternate exterior. Okay, couple more. Angle J is parallel to line K. So now we have our visual shown the other way. First, let's highlight all the matching pieces. I'm going to highlight in blue my opposite equals. So I'm going to start with 1 in blue. What else is going to be blue? 4 and 5 and 8. It kind of makes a zigzag. And my yellow are going to be 2, 3, 6. I'm going to go ahead and connect my parallel lines to make the box, so I can visualize the inside of the box versus the outside of the box. And then I could either bold or pick another color to my transversal. I know my angle 5, it says right here, my angle 5 is 102 degrees. It wants us to find the measure of angle 4. What's angle 4 going to be? Also 102 degrees. So angle 5 is congruent to angle 4. But how do we know what's their relationship? What is their relationship? Are they both inside the box or both outside the box? Both inside. So that means there's an interior to it. Alternate interior, because they're on opposite sides of the transversal and they're on inside the box. Alternate interior is what that's called. Alright, next we're going to find the measure of angle 1. What's angle 1 going to be? 102. 102 degrees. And let's compare angle 2 to our original angle of 5. Congruent to angle 5. Angle 2 and angle 1. Angle 1 and angle 5. One's inside and one's outside. So we can't use interior or exterior because they're in different places. So they're not one of the interior or exterior ones. So what are they? Corresponding, because they're both at each of those intersections, they're both like to the top left. Those are called corresponding. Working great today with all this vocabulary. And we'll put math with it on Monday. Alright, I want you to try number 5. Use the pictures from 3 to 4 to mark the following statements as true or false. And if it's false, correct it. I'm going to stop my recording here and you can check the key to these